I was halfway through my coffee when she dropped it on me. I think living together is holding me back from my dreams. I looked up from my laptop. She was standing in the doorway, arms crossed, wearing that expression people get when they've rehearsed something 100 times in their head. Holding you back, I repeated. Not a question, just letting the words sit there. Yes, I need space to grow, to figure out who I am outside of this relationship. I closed my laptop slowly, set down my coffee. Outside of the relationship. So you want to break up? No, no. She moved into the room, hands up like she was calming a spooked horse. I still love you. I just think we need to live separately for a while. Keep the marriage intact, but have our own spaces. I leaned back in my chair, studying her face. She'd thought about this, probably for weeks, maybe months. And you've already looked at places? She blinked. What? Apartments? Condos? Whatever. You've been planning this, so I'm assuming you've done the research. I was thinking I'd stay here, and you could. I could find somewhere else. I nodded. Got it. So you want the apartment, and I relocate. Well, I mean, it makes sense. Most of the furniture is mine, and most of the furniture. I stood up, walked to the window. How much is rent here? What? The rent. How much per month? $3,200. Why does that? And utilities? Internet. Parking. She shifted her weight. I don't know the exact. About $400 total. So you're looking at $3,600 a month, give or take. I turned to face her. Your salary covers that comfortably? Her face did something interesting. I'll figure it out. This isn't about money, right? Dreams. I walked past her toward the bedroom. When were you thinking? This move. I was hoping we could discuss a timeline that works for both. How about this weekend? She followed me. This weekend? That's 2 days from now. You said you need space. Why drag it out? I opened the closet, started looking at my clothes like I was taking inventory. You chase your dreams. I'll get out of your way. You're being ridiculous. We need to talk about this properly. I pulled out my phone, started scrolling. My buddy Oliver has a truck. Pretty sure he's free Saturday. I looked up at her. Unless you wanted more time to prepare, I wanted us to have a conversation about this. We are having a conversation. You want to live alone. I'm agreeing. What else is there to discuss? She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. You're not even upset. Would you prefer I be upset? I kept my voice level. Cry? Beg you to reconsider? That's not really my style. I just thought you'd. I don't know. Fight for us. I looked at her for a long moment. You're telling me that living with me is holding you back, that you need to be away from me to grow, and you want me to fight to keep doing something that apparently damages you. I shook my head. That doesn't sound like love. That sounds like control. That's not fair. Life rarely is. I grabbed a duffel bag from the closet shelf. I'll start packing tonight. Call the landlord tomorrow to get my name off the lease. You should probably check what the renewal terms are, since you'll be solo on it. Wait, you're calling Stanley tomorrow. Stanley was our landlord. Decent guy. Former Marine who didn't appreciate nonsense. Yeah, need to give proper notice if I'm moving out. 30 days, usually, but maybe he'll work with us since you're staying. But I haven't even, she stopped. What if I can't afford it by myself? Then you'll need to find a roommate, or a cheaper place, or pick up extra shifts. I started folding shirts. These are the logistics of independent living. Part of the dream, I guess. She stood there, watching me pack. I could feel her staring. Finally, she said, you're actually doing this. You asked for space. I'm giving you space. All the space you need. I glanced at her. Unless you've changed your mind in the last 10 minutes? No, she rubbed her face. I thought we'd ease into it. Ease into what? You either want to live separately or you don't. I zipped up the duffel. Look, if this is what you need to figure yourself out, I'm not going to stand in your way. But I'm also not going to sit around waiting while you decide if I'm worth keeping in your life. It's not like that. Then what's it like? Help me understand. She couldn't answer. Just stood there, looking confused and maybe a little panicked. I'd seen that look before. Usually when someone realizes they've made a move they can't take back. I'm going to grab dinner with Bennett from work, I said, grabbing my jacket. Give you some time to think. When I get back, let me know what you've decided. If you want space, I'll be out by Sunday. If you've reconsidered, we can talk. But I'm not doing this halfway thing where we're married but separated but still connected but independent. That's just torture with extra steps. I walked past her toward the door. Where are you going to go? I stopped, hand on the doorknob. Don't worry about me. I'm resourceful. Always have been. I looked back at her. Chase your dreams. I mean that. No resentment. But understand that I'm going to do the same. I left her standing in our bedroom, surrounded by furniture she thought was hers, in an apartment she apparently couldn't afford alone, holding on to dreams she hadn't bothered to calculate the cost of. My phone buzzed as I hit the lobby. Bennett asking if I was still good for that project review tomorrow. I texted back yes, then opened my banking app. Time to see exactly what disentangling our finances looked like. She wanted independence. I was about to show her what that word truly meant. The funny thing about people who talk about dreams, they rarely consider the alarm clock that comes with them. She texted me 3 times during dinner with Bennett. I ignored all of them. When I got home around 9, she was sitting on the couch with her laptop, looking at spreadsheets. Our spreadsheets. The ones I'd maintained for the past 4 years. We need to talk, she said. Sure. I sat in the chair across from her, not next to her on the couch. Distance established. I've been looking at our expenses. She turned the laptop toward me. I didn't realize how much you were covering. Now you do. Maybe we can work out an arrangement. Like, you could still contribute to rent even if you're not living here. I smiled. Couldn't help it. Why would I pay rent on a place I don't live in? Because we're still married. We're still a team. Teams live in the same house. You wanted separate lives. This is what that looks like. I stood up. I've got calls to make. Early morning tomorrow. What calls? Logistics. Moving arrangements. That sort of thing. I went to the bedroom and closed the door. First call was to Oliver. He answered on the second ring. Saturday morning work for you? Need to move some stuff. How much stuff? Half an apartment. Maybe less. My half. He was quiet for a second. Everything okay? Define okay. Can you help or not? Yeah, I can help. 7 too early. 7's perfect. Thanks. I hung up and opened my notes app. Started making a list. By midnight, I had a plan. By 6 the next morning, I was executing it. First stop, the bank. I walked in right when they opened and asked to speak with someone about joint accounts. The woman who helped me was probably 50, glasses on a chain, the kind of person who'd seen every financial disaster imaginable. I need to remove myself from these accounts, I said, sliding the paperwork across her desk. She looked it over. This is a joint checking and savings. You're wanting to close them. I'm wanting to remove my name and access. She can keep the accounts. Is your spouse aware of this change? She will be by this afternoon. We're separating. I need to establish independent finances. The banker nodded slowly. I'll need to verify your identity and process the removal. This will take about an hour. The accounts will remain open under her name alone, but you'll have no further access or liability. Perfect. While she processed paperwork, I opened a new account at a different bank 3 blocks away, transferred my portion of savings, set up direct deposit from my paycheck. By 10, I was financially independent. Next stop, the leasing office. Stanley looked up when I walked in. Rent's not due for 2 weeks. I know. I'm here about removing my name from the lease. He leaned back in his chair. She kicking you out. Mutual decision. She's staying. I'm going. Both names are on that lease through August. You're responsible until then unless we do an official modification. That's why I'm here. What do I need to do? He pulled up our file on his computer. She'll need to qualify for the lease on her own. Income requirements are 3 times the monthly rent, so she needs to show proof of about $9,600 a month. I said nothing. Her salary was around $5,000. Before taxes. Stanley saw my face. She doesn't make that. No. Then she'll need a cosigner or she'll need to move. He looked at me over his reading glasses. You trying to stick her with an apartment she can't afford? I'm trying to respect her request for independence. She wanted to live separately. I'm making it happen. He grunted. Women. My ex-wife pulled similar nonsense. Wanted freedom until she realized freedom included paying bills. He clicked through some screens. I can have you removed from the lease effective end of next month, but she'll need to sign acknowledgement that she's assuming full financial responsibility. If she can't prove income, she's got 30 days to vacate. Fair enough. Send the paperwork. By noon, I was home with boxes. She was at work. I started packing systematically. Clothes first, then books. My desk setup. My tools from the hall closet. The coffee maker I'd bought. My grandmother's quilt from the bedroom. Oliver showed up around 2 with his truck and his cousin Kyle. You weren't kidding about moving fast, Oliver said, looking at the stack of boxes. No point dragging it out. We loaded furniture. My dresser. The chair I'd inherited from my dad. The bookshelf. The small dining table from my old apartment that somehow never got used because she preferred the bigger one. By 4, the truck was loaded. By 5, we had everything moved into a furnished room I was renting from a guy I knew from work. Temporary situation, but clean and cheap. $300 a month. Walking distance to the office. You need help unpacking? Kyle asked. I'm good. Thanks for the assist. They left. I sat on the bed in my new space and looked around. Smaller than what I was used to. Quieter. Mine. I texted her, moved out. Keys are on the kitchen counter. Good luck with everything. She called immediately. I let it ring. She called again. Then again. Finally, I answered. Yeah. What do you mean you moved out? I'm standing in the apartment and half the furniture is gone. My furniture. I took my furniture. You can't just leave like this. We didn't agree on a timeline. You wanted space. I gave you space. What's the problem? The problem is I came home to an empty apartment and a note from the bank saying you closed our accounts. Remove my name. Different thing. The accounts are still open. They're just yours now. How am I supposed to pay rent? The same way you were going to pay it when you asked me to move out. You figured it out, right? Before making your big independent speech. Silence on her end. Long silence. You did figure it out, I said. Right. I thought we'd split expenses while living separately. Like, I'd pay my portion, you'd pay yours. Of what? I don't live there. Why would I pay rent on a place I don't live in? Because you're my husband. Exactly. Your husband. The person you decided you needed space from. Make up your mind. Either we're partners sharing a life and expenses, or we're two independent people pursuing separate dreams. Can't be both. You're being cruel. I'm being logical. You made a decision. I'm respecting it. Now you get to experience all the benefits of independent living you were so excited about. Where are you even staying? Not your concern. You wanted separate lives. Congratulations. I hung up, turned off my phone, unpacked 3 boxes, organized my clothes, and went to bed at 9. Best sleep I'd had in months. The next morning, I woke up to 47 text messages and 19 missed calls. I scrolled through them over coffee. They evolved from angry to panicked to desperate. The last one, sent at 2 in the morning. Please can we just talk about this like adults? I texted back, I'm at work until 6. If you want to discuss logistics, we can meet somewhere public tomorrow evening. Her response came in seconds. Tomorrow? What about tonight? Tomorrow. I'll let you know where. I pocketed my phone and headed to the office. Had a productive day. No distractions. No texts. No drama. Just work. Around lunch, Bennett stopped by my desk. You seem different. Good different. Yeah. Lighter. Like someone lifted weight off your shoulders. Weird how that happens when you stop carrying someone else's expectations. He laughed. I'll drink to that. Happy hour Friday. Absolutely. My phone buzzed. The leasing office. I stepped outside to take it. She came in this morning, Stanley said. About the lease situation. And she doesn't qualify on her own. She's asking for more time to find a solution. What did you tell her? 30 days. Standard notice. She can find a roommate, find a cheaper place, or figure out how to triple her income. He paused. She seemed surprised you'd actually go through with it. People often are. She asked if there was any way to get you back on the lease. What did you say? I said I'd ask, but that it was your decision. So I'm asking. The answer is no. She wanted this. She gets to own it. Stanley chuckled. Thought so. Just had to check. Take care of yourself. I hung up and went back to work. At 5:30, I left the office and stopped by the gym. First time in 6 months. Felt good to lift again. Felt good to have the time. When I got back to my room, I had another text from her. I can't afford this place alone. I replied, then don't live there alone. Get a roommate or move. This is my home. It's an apartment. Apartments are replaceable. You're really not coming back. No. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Finally, I made a mistake. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed, see you tomorrow. 7. The coffee shop on Maple Street. I turned off my phone and finished unpacking the last box. Inside was a framed photo of us from our wedding. I looked at it for maybe 10 seconds, then put it face down in the bottom drawer. That life was done. Time to build a new one. She was already at the coffee shop when I arrived. Sitting at a corner table, 2 cups in front of her. She'd ordered for both of us. My usual order. I sat down but didn't touch the coffee. Thanks for meeting me, she said. You said you wanted to talk logistics. Right? Logistics. She wrapped both hands around her cup. I spoke with Stanley yesterday. I know. He said I need to vacate in 30 days if I can't cover the rent alone. That's standard procedure when someone doesn't meet income requirements. I thought maybe you could help me out. Just for a few months while I figure things out. I leaned back in my chair. Help you out how? Keep paying your half. You were already budgeting for it, so it wouldn't change anything for you. Except I'd be paying rent on a place I don't live in while also paying for my current room. It's temporary. How temporary? 3 months? 6? A year? I shook my head. You wanted independence. Part of independence is paying your own bills. I just need time to adjust. You had time to adjust. You spent weeks, maybe months, planning your speech about needing space. Did you spend any of that time looking at your bank statements? Calculating what rent costs? Checking what utilities run? She looked down. I thought we'd work something out. We did work something out. You live there, you pay for it. I live elsewhere, I pay for that. Clean separation. It's not that simple. It literally is that simple. Adults pay for the places they live. That's how the world works. I finally picked up the coffee. It was cold. What did you think was going to happen? I'd just keep funding your lifestyle from a distance while you figured out who you are. You're making me sound ridiculous. I'm making you sound honest. You wanted the benefits of being single with the financial safety net of being married. That's not a thing. She was quiet for a long moment. Then, when did you become so cold? I'm not cold. I'm clear. There's a difference. I set the cup down. You told me that living with me was holding you back, that you needed space to grow. I took you at your word. Now you're upset that I respected your request. I didn't mean it like this. Then how did you mean it? Walk me through what you thought would happen. She opened her mouth, closed it, tried again. I thought you'd fight for me. By doing what? Begging you to reconsider? Crying? Making you feel guilty? I shook my head. That's not fighting for someone. That's emotional manipulation. If you wanted to stay, you should have stayed. If you wanted space, I gave you space. I'm not going to play games where I guess what you truly want versus what you're saying you want. Relationships require compromise. They do. But you weren't offering compromise. You were issuing an ultimatum disguised as self-discovery. I looked at her directly. You said I was holding you back. From what exactly? What dreams were you chasing that required me to not be in the same apartment? She didn't answer. That's what I thought. I pulled out my phone, opened my banking app, and showed her the screen. See this? This is every shared expense we had over the past year. Rent, utilities, groceries, internet, streaming services, car insurance for your vehicle, your phone bill. Want to guess what percentage I was covering? She glanced at the screen, then looked away. 73%. I said, you were paying less than 30% of our shared life. And somehow, I was the one holding you back. I didn't realize. You didn't want to realize. Because if you'd looked at the numbers, you would have had to acknowledge that your independence fantasy was subsidized by someone else's labor. That's not fair. I contribute in other ways. Like what? Cooking dinner twice a week? Doing laundry occasionally? Those are nice gestures, but they don't pay bills. I put my phone away. You wanted to be treated like an independent adult. Congratulations. You're getting exactly that. She was crying now, not sobbing, just quiet tears running down her face. I made a mistake. Yes, you did. Can't we just forget this happened? Start over? No. The word hung between us. Final. Definitive. Why not? Because you showed me how you think. When things got complicated or boring or routine, your solution wasn't to work on it together. It was to blow it up and see what happens. That's not a partner. That's a liability. People make mistakes. They do. And sometimes mistakes have consequences that can't be undone. I stood up. You've got 30 days to figure out your housing situation. If you need references for apartment applications, I'm happy to provide one. If you need help moving, I can ask Oliver to assist. But I'm not coming back, and I'm not funding your lifestyle anymore. What am I supposed to do? Exactly what you said you wanted. Figure out who you are. Chase your dreams. Grow. I grabbed my jacket. You just have to do it on your own dime now. I can't afford anything in this city on my salary. Then find roommates. Move somewhere cheaper. Pick up extra shifts. Those are your options. Same options everyone else has. She looked up at me, mascara streaking. Do you even care? About us? About me? I cared enough to spend 4 years building a life with you. I cared enough to cover expenses without complaining. I cared enough to support your career changes and your hobbies and your friend drama. I paused at the door. But I care about myself too. And I'm not going to light myself on fire to keep someone warm who's actively walking away from me. This isn't who you are. You're right. The person I was would have stayed, would have negotiated, would have bent over backward trying to make you happy. I opened the door. Turns out, being told you're holding someone back is pretty clarifying. Helps you figure out your priorities fast. I left her sitting there with 2 cold cups of coffee and a month to figure out how to be the independent woman she'd claimed she wanted to be. My phone buzzed as I walked back to my room. Bennett asking if I wanted to grab dinner. I texted back yes. Another buzz. Her. Please don't do this. I didn't respond. Third buzz. Her again. We can go to counseling. Work through this. I turned off my phone and kept walking. The funny thing about consequences, they don't care about intentions. She'd intended to have her cake and eat it too. Intended to maintain the safety net while cutting the rope. Intended for me to wait around while she figured out if the grass was greener. But intentions don't pay rent. They don't keep the lights on. They don't rebuild trust once it's shattered. She wanted space to grow. Well, now she had all the space she could handle. And I had something even better. Freedom from someone who saw me as optional. 2 weeks later, I ran into her sister at the grocery store. Bryn spotted me in the produce section and walked straight over. You're a piece of work, you know that? Good to see you too, Bryn. She's devastated. Completely falling apart. I picked up a bag of apples, checked them over. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Because you seemed pretty comfortable destroying her life. I didn't destroy anything. I removed myself from a situation where I wasn't wanted. I moved past her toward the checkout. She followed. She made one mistake. One. And you're punishing her like she committed a crime. She didn't make a mistake. She made a choice. Then she faced the consequences of that choice. Those are different things. Bryn grabbed my cart. She lost the apartment. Did you know that? Stanley gave her notice yesterday. She's got 2 weeks to move out. I assumed that would happen when she couldn't meet the income requirements. You could have helped her. How? By paying rent on a place I don't live in? By enabling her to avoid the natural results of her decisions. I gently moved her hand off my cart. She's an adult. Adults handle their own housing. She's family. She was my wife. Past tense. She chose to change that relationship. I'm respecting her choice. Bryn's face was red. You've changed. You used to be kind. I'm still kind. Just not to people who use kindness as weakness. I started pushing the cart toward checkout. If she needs help moving, tell her to call Oliver. He's got a truck. Unbelievable. Bryn turned and walked away. I paid for my groceries and headed home. On the way, I stopped by the gym. Been going 4 times a week now. Down 7 pounds. Feeling stronger than I had in years. At the gym, I ran into Vanessa from accounting. She was on the treadmill next to mine. Hey, stranger, she said. Haven't seen you here before. Just started coming back. Felt like I needed the routine. Good for you. Routine is underrated. She wiped her face with a towel. Some of us are grabbing drinks after work Friday. You should come. Yeah? Who's going? Me, Tyler from sales, Amber from IT, couple others. Nothing fancy. Just happy hour at Malloy's. I'm in. She smiled. Genuine smile. The kind that reaches the eyes. Great. See you then. I finished my workout and headed back to my room. Stopped at Chipotle on the way. Grabbed a bowl, extra chicken. Simple dinner. No negotiation about where to eat or what someone else wanted. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Is this about the storage unit? A woman's voice asked. Wrong number, I think. Oh, sorry. Is this the number for? She rattled off a number similar to mine. Nope. Last digit is different. My mistake. Thank you anyway. I hung up and finished my dinner. Opened my laptop, started looking at apartments. The room was fine temporarily, but I wanted my own place. Something small. Efficient. Just mine. Found a 1-bedroom about 15 minutes from work. $700 a month. Utilities included. Available next month. I bookmarked it. Another text came through. This time from her. Can we please talk? I stared at it for a minute, then typed. We talked. There's nothing left to say. I'm losing everything. You chose to roll the dice. Sometimes you lose. I need you. You needed space. You got it. I turned off my phone and went to bed early. Had a presentation in the morning. Needed to be sharp. The presentation went well. My manager, Rita, pulled me aside after. That was solid work. The client was impressed. Thanks. Felt good to deliver it. You've been on fire lately. Ever since, she paused. Everything okay at home? Home's fine. Actually, home's great. Just going through some changes. She nodded slowly. Good changes, it seems. Keep it up. We're discussing promotions next month. Your name's in the conversation. I kept my expression neutral. Appreciate the heads up. Just keep doing what you're doing. I went back to my desk. Bennett leaned over the divider. Heard Rita talking to you. That about the promotion? Maybe. Nice. You deserve it. He grinned. Still on for Friday? Absolutely. Friday came. The group from the gym showed up at Malloy's around 6. 7 of us total. Good crowd. Easy conversation. Vanessa sat next to me at the bar. So what's your story? She asked. You seem different than most guys here. Different how? Calmer. Like you're not trying to impress anyone. Maybe because I'm not. She laughed. Refreshing. Most guys in this city are exhausting. We talk for an hour. Work stuff. Life stuff. Nothing heavy. Just good conversation with someone who seemed genuinely interested in listening. Around 8, Tyler suggested moving to the billiards hall down the street. Most of the group agreed. We paid our tabs and headed out. That's when I saw her. She was across the street, standing outside a coffee shop with 2 other women. One of them was pointing at different buildings, probably apartment hunting. She saw me at the same moment. Saw me laughing with Vanessa. Saw the group of people I was with. Saw me looking happy. Her face did something complicated. Hurt, anger, regret, all mixed together. I gave a small nod. Acknowledgement. Not friendly, not hostile. Just recognition that we'd seen each other. Then I turned and kept walking with my group. Vanessa noticed. You know her? Used to. Ex-girlfriend. Something like that. She didn't push. Just linked her arm through mine as we crossed the street. Well, she's missing out. At the billiards hall, I played 3 games and won 2. Vanessa was surprisingly good. We were partners for the 3rd game, beat Tyler and Amber handily. Where'd you learn to play like that? I asked. Brothers. 3 of them. Had to learn to hold my own. She chalked her cue. What about you? My dad taught me. Said it was about angles and patience. Turns out he was talking about more than just billiards. She studied me for a second. You're deeper than you look. I'll take that as a compliment. It was meant as one. We played until 11. Then the group started breaking up. Vanessa and I were the last 2 standing outside. This was fun, she said. We should do it again sometime. Definitely. Can I give you my number? For organizing the next one, obviously. Obviously. I handed her my phone. She typed it in, handed it back. Text me so I have yours. Will do. She smiled again. That same genuine smile. See you Monday. I watched her walk to her car, then headed back to my room. My phone buzzed on the way. Her number. I saw you tonight. You looked happy. I considered not responding, then decided she deserved honesty. I am happy. With her. With me. For the first time in a long time, I'm happy with myself. I'm moving in with Bryn. Sleeping on her couch until I find something I can afford. I hope you find something good. Do you miss me at all? I stopped walking. Looked up at the night sky. Thought about the question honestly. I miss who I thought you were. But that person either never existed or stopped existing a long time ago. So no, I don't miss you. I miss the idea of you. There's a difference. 3 dots appeared. Disappeared. Appeared again. Then nothing. I got back to my room, changed for bed, and set my alarm for 6. Had a gym session with Bennett before work. Then the usual Friday staff meeting. Then maybe lunch with some of the people from tonight. Life was full again. Not the way it used to be full, with obligations and compromises and walking on eggshells trying not to upset someone. Full in a better way. Full of choices that were actually mine. Full of people who wanted me around, not people who tolerated me until something better came along. She'd wanted to figure out who she was without me. Turns out, I was doing the same thing. Difference was, I was actually succeeding. 3 weeks after that night at Malloy's, I got the promotion. Rita called me into her office Friday afternoon and made it official. 15% raise. Small team to manage. Better projects. You've earned this, she said. Your work's been exceptional. I thanked her, kept it professional, but inside I was celebrating. This was validation. Proof that removing distractions led to results. Bennett insisted on celebrating. Tonight. Drinks. Non-negotiable. Fine. But somewhere low-key. Deal. We ended up at a sports bar near the office. Good crowd. Hockey game on the screens. Decent wings. Vanessa showed up with Amber. We'd all been hanging out regularly since that first Friday. Around 8, she walked in. Not alone. With some guy? Tall, fitted shirt, the kind of jawline you see in cologne ads. They sat at a table across the room. Vanessa noticed me noticing. That her? Yeah. And the guy? No idea. We went back to our conversation, but I could feel her watching. Every few minutes, her eyes would drift to our table. To me. To Vanessa sitting close, laughing at something Bennett said. 15 minutes later, she walked over. Can we talk? She looked only at me, ignoring everyone else. I'm kind of in the middle of something. It'll just take a minute. Vanessa touched my arm. It's fine. Go ahead. I stood, followed her outside. The guy she came with stayed at their table, looking uncomfortable. Who's that? I asked, nodding toward the window. Friend from work. It's not serious. Okay. Who's she? She gestured toward Vanessa. Friend from work. It's not serious. I echoed her words back deliberately. Her jaw tightened. You're seeing someone already. I'm living my life. There's a difference. It's only been a month. 5 weeks. And you're literally on a date right now. So maybe skip the moral high ground. She looked down. This was a mistake. Coming here. Then why did you? Because I needed to see if there was any chance. Any possibility that we could. There isn't. The words came out flat. Final. She flinched like I'd slapped her. You don't mean that. I do. And deep down, you know it. I crossed my arms. You wanted space to chase something. Someone. That guy in there, maybe. Or someone else. You just didn't have the guts to be honest about it. That's not true, isn't it? You didn't want me out of the apartment because you needed to find yourself. You wanted me gone so you could explore other options without the guilt. I kept my voice level. I just called your bluff faster than you expected. Her eyes filled with tears. He wasn't interested. The person I thought, it didn't work out. And now you want to come back because your backup plan failed. That's not love. That's convenience. I made a terrible mistake. You made a calculated gamble. You lost. Those aren't the same thing. People were starting to stare. Her date was looking through the window now, confused. I loved you, she said. Past tense. Interesting choice. I turned toward the door. Your date's waiting. You should get back to him. Please. I'm sleeping on my sister's couch. I lost everything. Don't you care at all? I stopped. Looked back at her. You didn't lose everything. You traded it. For a fantasy that turned out to be empty. That's not my problem to fix. So that's it. You just move on like 4 years meant nothing? 4 years meant everything. Right up until you said living with me was holding you back. Then it meant you were willing to throw away something good for something uncertain. I'm just the only one honest enough to admit it's over. I went back inside. Sat down next to Vanessa. Picked up my drink. You okay? She asked quietly. Yeah, I'm good. Through the window, I watched her stand there for another minute. Then her date came out, put his arm around her, and they left. Bennett raised his glass. To moving forward. To moving forward, we all echoed. My phone buzzed later that night. Her. I'll always regret this. I typed back. Good. Learn from it. Then I blocked her number. Vanessa texted 5 minutes later. You handled that with serious class. Impressive. Just tired of drama. Life's better without it. Amen to that. Coffee Monday before work. It's a date. I fell asleep that night thinking about angles and patience. About how sometimes the best move is walking away from a losing game. My dad would have been proud. 3 months later, I signed the lease on my own place. 1 bedroom, hardwood floors, 10 minutes from work. Not fancy, but mine. Vanessa helped me move in. We'd been seeing each other officially for 6 weeks. Nothing rushed. Just easy. This is perfect for you, she said, setting down a box in the kitchen. Clean slate. That's the idea. Bennett and Tyler showed up with pizza and beer. We spent the afternoon unpacking and laughing. Good people. The kind who show up when it matters. Around 6, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but answered. Hey. Her voice. I got your new number from Bryn. Hope that's okay. What do you need? I wanted to tell you I'm moving. Out of state. Fresh start. Good for you. Yeah. It's probably for the best. Pause. I also wanted to say I'm sorry. For everything. I looked out the window of my new apartment. Vanessa was arranging books on the shelf, humming something. I appreciate that, I said. Are you happy? I am. With her. With myself. She's just a bonus. Another pause. I see you got promoted. Bryn mentioned it. Yeah. Few months back. That's great. You deserved it. Her voice cracked slightly. I really did love you, you know. I know. just not enough to be honest when it mattered. Fair. She cleared her throat. I hope you have a good life. You too. She hung up. I stood there for a moment, phone in hand, feeling absolutely nothing. No anger. No sadness. Just neutral acceptance that some chapters close. Vanessa walked over. Everything okay? Yeah. Just someone saying goodbye. X. Yeah. She kissed my cheek. Their loss. My gain. 2 weeks later, Bennett threw a housewarming party at my place. 20 people showed up. Work friends, gym crew, even my cousin who drove 3 hours. Rita pulled me aside on the balcony. You've really turned things around. Just focused on what matters. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. We're talking about expanding your team next quarter. I thanked her and went back inside. Found Vanessa talking with Amber about some camping trip they were planning. You in? Vanessa asked when I walked up. For camping? I don't really camp. Perfect. We'll teach you. She grinned. It'll be fun. I looked around my apartment. At the people laughing. At the life I'd built from scratch in 4 months. At the woman who looked at me like I was enough exactly as I was. Yeah, I said. I'm in. That night, after everyone left and Vanessa fell asleep on my couch, I sat on the balcony with coffee. Thought about how different things were. How much lighter I felt. She'd wanted space to chase her dreams. Turns out, giving her that space freed me to chase mine. No bitterness. No regret. Just gratitude that she'd shown me who she was before I wasted any more years. My phone buzzed. Text from Bennett. Great party. You're officially moved on, my friend. I smiled and typed back. Been moved on. Just took everyone else a while to notice. I finished my coffee and went inside. Vanessa stirred when I sat next to her. Come to bed, she mumbled. In a minute. She opened one eye. You good? Yeah. Better than good. Good. She closed her eye again. Because I'm not going anywhere. Neither am I. And I meant it. This life, this version of myself, was exactly where I was supposed to be. She'd wanted to know who she was without me. I'd figured out who I was without her. Turned out, that person was pretty damn happy.